Victor was always the smartest guy in every room. He used to be different. He used to be kind, he used to be caring. And then everything he loved was taken from him. I knew he was lost, but I did not realize that he was broken.
Victor, did you do this?
All of you have lived stolen lives. But now you must give them back.
Answer me, Victor! Did you do this?
I swear, you will beg for a hell long before I grant it.
Hell answers to me. For I am Doom.
Yes, chat, we are here. It is Saturday.
and we have much to discuss. After Effects. Not a lot of little stories, but a couple of biggies. So, glad you're here. Missed you on Wednesday, but I was just not feeling great, so I took the night off, but I am ready to rock this evening. So fill your cup and light your smoke. For Doom says it's time to get nerdy. Yes, indeedy, we are back up in this motherfucker. What's happening, y'all? I am very glad to be here, and I am very glad that you have decided to join me. Who up in here is early, right from jump? Lacey Dan, Brooke, Delta Dan, Lou. What's going on, my guy? Haven't seen you in a minute. Hope things are well with you. Hope things are well with everybody, obviously. But, haven't seen Lou in a minute. So, what up? What up to all? Whether you be here live or were kind enough to click in or watching the replay. Thank you. If you could all do me a humongous favor. Everybody, hit the like. All y'all. And if you are new, please also hit the subscribe and the bell. You will not regret it. We have fun here. We're good folks here. Well, chat's good folk. I'm me. Anyway. What's happening, chat? How we all doing? Did you have a good week? Did you have an okay week? Hopefully you didn't have a shit week, but, share. Share. We are here for each other. So if shit be happening, we want to know. If good shit be happening, we want to celebrate it. If bad shit be happening, we want to, send the good vibes your way and wish you well. And hope it passes in a quick manner. Yeah. Decide to use your personal holiday leave for the 18th so you can watch of December so you can watch Doomsday opening night. Hell yeah. I'm still kicking that around. I'm debating on if I want to take the 18th off. Is that the Thursday or is that the Friday? I need a fucking calendar. Oh shit. I also need to plug in my fucking phone. Hold on a second, chat. Be right back. Okay. Let's take care of this real quick. Just real quick, like. So, what is happening, yo? How are we doing? I'm doing okay. I'm doing better in the middle of the week, that's for damn sure. And I am ready to talk about nerdy goodness. Not a crap ton of nerdy goodness, but, we are going to get into what we have. And what up, Griff? 18th is a Friday? Okay. I might take the 17th off. Catch a Thursday Actually, no. If I'm going to do anything, it'll be the 18th. But I got to I gotta check my PTO in November, see if I can do that shit. I got stuff to do. Yeah. I will have, life be lifing, but, occasionally you gotta grab life and choke a little bit, throw it the fuck out of your way. Gotta be done. Any hoodles. Hope everyone is doing well. I know I said that like 8 times, but I really, really mean it. I really do. Cool. Just going through my notes, aka my bookmarks on Twitter. All right, cool. Okay. Feeling better in New Year's beginning of the month, at least when it comes to work. Yeah, it's still slowing down. You caught up now, Mr. Brooks, sir? Oh, shit, I haven't gambled yet. Place again might have taken a shit roll for me. Let's see. Let's see what happens. Hell yeah. Thanks, Placey Dan. Appreciate you. Straight Emperor cat. Okay. Little Revenge of the Sith action one time for your mind. You still in here, Lou? Because if so, we have a tradition. Speak up if you're still here, man. Alright, where to begin? What's the hubbub bub? Oh, just, a complete description of the Doomsday plot. Like, complete. Not the actual script, obviously, but I was reading it earlier. It's pretty motherfucking comprehensive, I'll say that. Ooh, look at you, Brooke. Nice roll. What's the hubbub, bub? I'm glad you're here, Griff. I was asking for Lou, though. Like, no offense. I know you're here, too. I know you're all here. But if Lou is still here, we used to do shots together. And I was going to do one if he's still up in here. He's paying attention. He might be gaming. I know you and Delta Dan are gaming, Mr. Griff, sir. Rivaling it up. You guys doing quick play? Or what? You just ganging up on motherfuckers who are about to FAFO when they fight you guys? I've seen you operate. You guys do show motherfuckers FAFO. No, that's basically that's the essence of gambling. Right there, Brooke. It is the essence of gambling. Sometimes you be lucky, and sometimes you are not. You finish GTA 5 before GTA 6 comes out. What is that, November? GTA 6? Finally, November 2027? 26, I mean. Battlefield 6 has a Top Gun crossover event. Ooh. Ooh. That's cool. That's cool, man. That's cool. I don't really have anything much to report. Oh, actually. How many of y'all watched Lanterns? Let's start there. Let's chit chat about Lanterns for a minute. Yeah. How many of y'all watched Lanterns? And then, what did you think? Did you enjoy episode 1 of Lanterns? Did you hate it? Will you be watching episode 2? What do you guys think of Lanterns? Share with me your opinions. I liked it. I thought it was a good episode of TV. They got right into. I mean, I think I could safely say they got right into it. You know, they established Hal and John's relationship right off the bat. Which, you know, obviously we had a pretty good idea what it was going to be like through the trailer, the most recent one. But yeah, you know, they got in depth with it. They established everyone's, you know, baselines. Giggity going with random hot grandma. Oh, Cat's doing bad shit again. Mrs. Jones handling it. Uh-oh. Sounds like he got snatched up. Yep, he got snatched up and he earned it. Yeah, I thought it was good. I enjoy the dynamic between Hal and John. I think they might be going a little over the top with, like, you know, crusty middle-aged dude, but, you know, maybe that's because I'm middle-aged and also crusty. That could be part of it, but I liked it. Got right in there. Aliens on the planet right off the bat. If I recall correctly, there's like 14 different alien species that can masquerade as us so effectively as to fool all our medical technology, which I think will definitely be coming into play later. Outside of just, you know, random aliens hiding from Hal and John. But yeah, overall I enjoyed it. You know, giggity with hot grandmas in a pickup truck that turned out to be the wife of the richest, most powerful dude in the area. Oopsie. Did any of you think that? Any of you think that grandma was not hot? That was an attractive ass grandma. You definitely you really wouldn't know she was a grandma until, like, you know, she showed up with her grandkid. That's cool. Got, you know, obviously her husband, militiaman. Although I recognized one of the places John drove by at in that last little bit, the last couple minutes, it looked like his ranch. Once they, you know, 10 years had passed and they're in 2026, looked like that place was trash. If that's what it was, I feel like that's what it was. So they got a lot of stuff in 2016 to attend to. That is for sure. My question is how are they going to handle, like, the bouncing back and forth? Are they going to do both 2016 and 2026 in each episode? Is there going to be episodes dedicated purely to one year or the other. I'm curious as to how they're going to handle it. I think there's, because now we have two separate mysteries. We have what are the aliens up to in 2016, and evidently we now have, spoiler alert, as of the end of episode 1, who killed Hal, if that is Hal, of course, because again, 14 alien species that can masquerade so effectively as humans that we can't tell. So maybe that's actually Hal, maybe it's not. But if it is, we're going to have to see if Mr. Goon keeps his word, because of course, right after that episode, people brought up one of his old Threads posts or tweets. I'm not sure which. One of his social media posts. I guess we'll just put it that way, right? Since, he spends so little time on there. So, yeah, someone brought up one of his old posts where he said, if someone dies in the DCU, they stay dead. Okay. So one of two things is true. Hal Jordan's fucking dead and never coming back, or that's an alien and he will be back. I don't know, can Parallax resurrect motherfuckers? I suppose they could still turn him into Parallax somehow or other. His corpse. Not sure how that's gonna go, but yeah. Yeah, either all the DC Hal Jordan fans are going to be super pissed off when it is confirmed that he's dead, and if James holds to his word, we'll never fucking see him again, except maybe in a flashback if he wants to go that route, which would be better than no Hal, but also fucking lame. Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, it was a good episode. I'm intrigued enough to want to watch episode 2 for sure. And when he was interrogating that alien, it's pretty well established that he's well known, not just on Earth, but, across the galaxy. And if not him, at least the Lantern Corps is. So, but yeah, I thought it was cool. I'm going to continue watching at least for one more week. We'll see how they resolve that. Now, Lindelof actually came, was it Monday, Tuesday at the absolute latest. Lindelof and his writing buddy and Tom King were in some kind of interview for, I don't even know, with somebody, obviously about the show, because that's all those two have going on anyway. But they're like, yeah, just give it time. You'll see what actually happens. You'll see what it's about. Kind of almost begging the people that are super duper pissed off about Hal's apparent, we'll call it for now, death. They're trying to keep them watching, basically. They're just begging. Like, Hal Jordan devotees, don't give up on us, is what they really were saying. You know you love Hal. Just wait and see how we handle this pretty, please. Sorry, I had a little something in my eyeball there, or at least close enough to it. It was annoying. You know what I mean? Yum. So, yeah, I like it. I'll give it a solid 7.5. That episode, 7.5. That's me. That's what I think. Damn it. Did not work like last time. Yeah. You give it an 8? That's fair. Ooh, thunder. Would appear a storm is rolling in. Better not fucking. You better not take my power, bitch. No power outage. Give me a cool light show, a little bit of rain, and then float the fuck on by. Funny, I almost thought you said I'd give it a B when and then I'm like, oh, it's an 8, but an 8 really is a B anyway on like a standard grading scale. It's the one I grew up on back in my day. 8 out of 10 is 80%, and that's a solid B. Yeah, that's right. What up, Brandon? How you doing, dude? Doing all right? You just got here. Did you watch Lanterns? And if so, what did you think of it? I am curious. I would like to know. Yes, we are talking about Lanterns. What'd you think? Yay, nay, nay. Doing all right. I am doing okay for a Saturday. This is chilling. Is going to a concert tomorrow. It's going to be pretty cool. She's going with a bunch of work friends, and they're going to see it's En Vogue, Salt and Pepper, and TLC. Well, TC. And that should be a fun show for her and her friends. And it's all groups I enjoy very much myself, but girls' night, I am staying here and doing laundry and sitting on my ass. That's what I'm doing. Don't know if I'm gonna play stuff. Don't know if I'm gonna watch stuff. I have ideas. I just have to decide. And decisions are not always easy for my neurodivergent IELTS. But we'll figure it out. We always figure it out. All right. Let's see what we have on the agenda tonight. Oh. Well, let's start talking about some early projections for the Doomsday box office. Let's begin with Monies. Monies is always fun. It's even more fun when you actually have it. But it's looking like Doomsday's about to have a shit ton of it. Now, I have held the stance for a while that Brand New Day will end up making more than Doomsday. Now, these early projections are making it look like I may end up being wrong, but there are outside considerations that I don't think everyone's thinking of that I'm thinking of. However, that being said, and I'm staying 10 toes down on it. And if I end up being wrong, so be it. I will issue a public mea culpa on stream, on Twitter. Be like, yeah, I said this and I was wrong about it. And you know what? This falls under the category of I don't care if I'm wrong on this. Like I'll be perfectly happy to be wrong because the more Doomsday makes, the more I can shit on film Twitter. And that's what's important. Is being able to shit on film Twitter. And they're a feet pinky in the air, fucking elevated everything, anal retentive bitch asses. Yeah, it's somewhere around there. I don't know what the actual production budget is, but it's probably about $500. And that alone means they need $750 to break even. just on that aspect. And then there's this monster marketing campaign that they're involved in, which is, got to be at least another 300 million, might be pushing 4. We'll say the high end and say it's 400, which means they actually would need to make almost 1.6 if they spent that much on marketing and that much on the film. Actually, no. If they spent 900 million on that film, it would need to make over 2 billion to break even. So there's no way. Maybe, well, what if they spent, say, 600 total between the budget and marketing? That would still need fucking 1.5. Yeah. Yeah, so if they spent like some form of combination on production and marketing to where it's around 600 million, yeah, they'll need 1.5 to break even in that fucking situation. Like exactly that. The 600 million, 2.5 times that is 1.5 billion. But here, World of Real decided to throw out some numbers. And this is what they said. Doomsday is tracking towards 100 million in pre-sales alone, and its global opening could top 1 billion. It's outpacing Spider-Man Brand New Day by 67%. Okay, caveat on that one. Someone else later came out and did a minor correction on this, a caveat on it. It's what Doomsday is outpacing is not the entirety of Spider-Man's Brand New Day pre-sales. All of Avengers Doomsday pre-sales, and they've been going on for a month at this point, are outpacing just the first 2 days of Spider-Man Brand New Day pre-sales by 67%. So we're talking an extra 28 days for Doomsday to be outpacing Spider-Man Brand New Day by 67%. That's the caveat on that. So, which, if you think about it, supports my stance. Now, the global opening topping 1 billion, that makes me wrong. Or at least puts me well on the road to being wrong. And then this last one, domestically, it could open to $400 million plus, beating Spider-Man Brand New Day's record, which was like the high threes, if I recall correctly, like 380, 390. So again, that would put it ahead in the race and make me look like I'm about to be wrong. Again, I'm totally fine with being wrong. If Doomsday makes all the damn money, fuck yeah. For a wide variety of reasons. But, all those numbers being said, I am staying 10 toes down on Brand New Day, ending up making more than Avengers Doomsday. For the following reasons. One, even though these numbers look amazing, Doomsday still has the baggage of phases 4 and 5. There's still plenty of skepticism out there about Doomsday's ability to resolve things in a satisfying way. There are those, like my buddy Harris, who are still like calling RDJ's casting desperate and are not excited about him being that character. He's not the only one. There's a lot of people out there like that too, or at least it looks. The appearance is that there's a lot of people out there. So there, basically, there's baggage. Doomsday's going to be carrying some luggage going into the theaters this December. There's that. There's the fact that the normal trend for second weekend drop-off, now Spider-Man's was really good. I think right around 50%. Stop it. Stop it. I don't care about the message, man. Globally. 60% domestically, which is pretty much right in line. And I might be looking. You don't care about domestic. No, it was 60 across the board. Okay, well, you know what? That doesn't help me at all. That doesn't help me at all. I'm probably going to end up being wrong, but I'm sticking with it all the way right to the end. All the way till the end of Doomsday's theatrical run, I'm sticking with it. And of course, something else that's going to kick me in the ass is there's some... Doomsday is getting IMAX overseas from Jump a little, but after it comes January, it's going to get some IMAX screens. So, and it comes out the 18th. So, in its third weekend, technically begins the 31st. So, I don't know if that's the weekend it'll get its IMAX screens, or it'll be the following weekend, which is actually all the way in January. But either way, it's going to get, a nice little boost either in its third or fourth weekend when it gets some IMAX screens. Because, people be busting their ass back, be like, oh, cool, this Infinity Vision shit was cool, but I want IMAX. And then they'll be able to get it. So they might get actually a decent fucking pop in its third or fourth weekend whenever it actually gets that IMAX access. Yeah, it's not looking good, chat, for me. It's really not. Because I just had one of my points blown up. I didn't think Spider-Man dropped off that hard. I thought it was more like 50%. I was going to be like, yeah, but, the average is 60 in there. Well, shit. It has slightly more competition, though. That's the big thing. Doomsday has more competition than Spider-Man had. Spider-Man had none. As much as I've been preaching and saying and trying to make film Twitter realize that Doomsday is going to shit all over Dune at the box office, which, is what's going to happen, it is also still a fact that Dune Part 3 will cut into Doomsday's box office at least a little. And then Doomsday's second weekend, what is that? The Jumanji movie comes out. Now, is Jumanji as a franchise kind of played out? A bit. But it's still Christmas week. It's still family movie week. So people are going to go see Jumanji. Like, older nerds with kids and grandkids are going to probably end up taking their little ones to see Jumanji. I don't know that Doomsday is going to be a prime movie for like 5 and 6 year olds, but Jumanji certainly will be. So I feel like that could cut in at least a little bit as well. Competition matters. So I think those are the things working in my favor. The baggage and the competition level, which is higher than what Spider-Man had, which was none, essentially. Odyssey had already been out for 3 weeks, or 2 weeks. Spider-Man went, Odysseus, you're adorable, and then whipped him and tossed him out of the fucking way. Yeah, it's at least in these early projections, things are looking like Doomsday is going to make all the money. Now, one thing you need to remember, though, is we're still 4 months out. Early projections are exactly that, early. Plenty of things can change in the next 3.5 to 4 months. Things could slow down. I mean, we saw that happen with, what was that? Was it Supergirl? No, the movie came out before Supergirl. Maybe it was Odyssey? No. But yeah, generally... Oh no, it was Mandalorian. Looked like Mandalorian was actually going to start making money, and then all of a sudden, like, pre-sales just practically disappeared. So their early projections ended up being way high, and everyone had to revise their shit down for Mandalorian and Grogu. Will that be the case with Doomsday? Who knows? But it very easily could be the case, is that these early projections end up being, I don't know about way high, but too high. So there's also that playing in favor. This is like early days. They're just like, they're running some kind of fucking statistical math based on early ass pre-sales. So it's entirely possible that those numbers, well, could get revised down. However, it is also possible that they could end up getting revised up. That's happened before too. Sometimes the early box office tracking ends up, slash predictions, which is really what it is. Tracking is code for, okay, we plug these numbers into some kind of formula, and this is the answer that said formula spit out. So really, it's early box office guessing. But regardless, sometimes they guess low and have to revise their numbers up. So we'll see how that goes. But as of right now, it's looking like Doomsday is going to be making a shit ton of money. Oh, one other factor though. Rewatchability. I think it's going to be very rewatchable. Will it be as rewatchable as Brand New Day? I think it very easily could be, but that, that's for me. A fair chunk of people that go see Doomsday opening weekend could be like, all right, once is enough. Unlike Brand New Day, which is, at least my little Twitter bubble was blowing up with people going 3, 4, 5 times. I'm like, damn. So we'll see if that happens with Doomsday as well. It very easily could. I kind of feel like it should, to be real. But who knows? Again, 4 months out. We will see what happens. But it's looking good for them Bucks so far. What do you think, Chad? You think these numbers are going to hold? You think they'll drop? Will they increase? Will it end up making more money than people think right now? What say you, chat? How you feeling about the early box office tracking for Doomsday? And what do you think about it? Its accuracy, I should say, specifically. Damn it, Streamlabs. You motherfucker. What you think about that? What you think about that? You want to see this cool image I found? It's obviously, Photoshop, AI, whatever, but it is of it's of the 4 newly cast X-Men characters. It's the ladies. And whoever did this did a damn fine job. Check this shit out. Boom. Of course, we have Sadie St. Jean Grey, and they decided to put her in the Phoenix outfit. Samara Weaving Emma. Indy Navarrete Rogue. And Maya... Fuck, I can never remember her last name. Anyway, her as Storm. Maya something or other. I don't know why I can't remember her last name. But I can't. But if they look anything even close to this, I think they gave a little extra to Sadie. Sadie's a lot more. Sadie does not have much in the way of hips, so they gave her a little extra here. Like, let's be real. But still, they did a pretty good job. And if they look even half this good, we're fucking cooking. Figured I'd throw that out there. I thought that was a pretty dope image. Just check it out real quick, like. Speaking of X-Men, we're going to talk, obviously, according to the thumbnail, we're going to talk about a full Doomsday plot leak, but there's this account that some of the people that I follow and trust have reposted, so I'm like checking little bits of shit out with them, see what they say, how it compares to what more established people say. I have yet to render a verdict on whether I'm going to continue to keep track of what this person says or not, whether I trust them a whole lot, but they put out they came across, someone sent to them, not sure, they're not that specific, what they call an unofficial draft for the X-Men movie. Now, this is just a draft. It's not like a full plot. It's not a screenplay. Basically, kind of an outline, biggest bullet points. You could technically call it a plot leak, but it's an unofficial draft. So, basically, what that means is the chances of this being complete and utter bullshit, if not now, then by the time they actually start production on this movie, is quite high. But, you know, even if it's treated as an outline and fleshed out in a different way in the actual movie, I think it'll be interesting to go over. So, let us see what this, again, unofficial draft. Okay, it says I received, so someone sent it to this person. So, they're even saying it's unofficial, so obviously, like, take this with an entire fucking truckload of salt. So here's what it says. The film is set after Secret Wars, well, duh. When the world's view of superheroes has become quite negative after they essentially caused incursions and apocalypse in the rewriting of reality. Okay, so here's sentence one. There's already an issue with this, and that is the fact that they're treating it like everyone fucking remembers what happens in Secret Wars, which is probably not going to be the case. There's going to be a very select few. So, what they probably will remember is what happened in Brand New Day. But I don't know how much. I doubt there's going to be a whole lot of the world at large that remembers the events of Doomsday and Secret Wars. But I mean, you know, we'll find out. But I kind of have an issue with that one already. But let us continue. Metzger is secretly working with the government to create the Sentinel program and wants to capture and experiment on individuals with superpowers. Well, he already was wanting to do that in Brand New Day anyway. But him working with the government to create the Sentinel program makes sense. If that's true, though, that basically that could mean, I should say, because there's still a way to not do that. But if they're using Metzger as a creator to work with the government to create the Sentinel program, well, I mean, that could be just mean he's in charge. He could still hire Boulevard Trask to work for him, because Boulevard Trask is the one who creates the Sentinels in the comics. So yeah, we kind of are. Obviously, we know from Brand New Day that he wants to capture and experiment people with power. So him working on the Sentinel program, that makes sense. So, if nothing else, At least this next sentence makes sense, even though the first one kind of doesn't. But we're going to move on. Following the events of Brand New Day and the damage control incident, Jean heads to upstate New York. We saw her on the bus, and we kind of presumed that's where she's heading, so according to this, we're right, but, we'll see. She wants to find others like herself, people with powers and may be going through similar situations, and who, like her, are being rejected or persecuted by society. I mean, that's, that makes sense. Basic X-Men shit right there anyway. Xavier discovers Jean and takes her to the mansion, where he is housing other individuals with powers who are being ostracized by society after Secret Wars and the shift in public perception of superhumans. Whoever, came up with this, if this is even real, is banking on the fact that a lot of people are going to remember shit after Secret Wars. And again, at least right now, the indications are that only a very few people will. Now that may change. I mean, we still have 4 months to Doomsday, and then another year to Secret Wars after that. And we know how Marvel does things. Whatever they're thinking about how they want to do Secret Wars right now could change fucking tomorrow or next week or next month. Marvel is always, as Spikey says, plussing. So who knows? By the time this could be an indication that what we think is incorrect, or it could be just a big assumption on this person's part. We'll see. He is secretly teaching them to being Professor X, is secretly teaching them to control their abilities, while elsewhere, Mr. Sinister, under the alias Nathaniel Milbury, which is the name that Adam Driver used. I know we both, most of us know him better as Nathaniel Essex, but this is in the comics. Is doing the same at the state home of foundlings, except he is secretly studying and experimenting on them to obtain their DNA in order to create, quote, the perfect specimen for the next stage of evolution. That's straight Mr. Sinister shit. He is aided by Emma Frost, a telepath who teaches at the orphanage, interesting, and by an orphan named Scott Summers who possesses concussive force beam. Orphan? Scotty an orphan? Now, I know Marvel doesn't ever do one-to-ones, but is that, from the comics? Anyone who knows that kind of off the top of their head? Is that a thing, or is this MCUing it? Scott has been at the orphanage since he was a toddler when his entire family died in a plane crash, and unbeknownst to him, Milbury has also been using his DNA as part of his experiments. His entire family died in a plane crash. Now, I don't know about his parents in the comics, but does that mean... Obviously, they can write it that, we just thought everyone died in the plane crash, but here's your older brother, Havoc, anyway, at some point. Could totally happen. But that's an interesting way to go, regardless. One day, Jean discovers she has developed a psychic connection with Scott. That's kind of random, but okay. The details may be somewhat resolved. Perhaps it was a side effect of Max's experiment on her that engaged the powers. Oh yeah, she communicates with him from afar and develops feelings for him. Interesting. Finally, Scott discovers the experiments and the true purpose of the state home. Sinister captures him when he's in trouble, or captures him. There should be a period right there. When he's in trouble, Jean senses him through their connection and vows to find and save him. She is captured after Sinister reveals his true plan and how he knew about their connection, explaining how he believes Jean and Scott's DNA could create the perfect specimen. After discovering she's gone, and Jean sends out a psychic call for help, her teammates decide to rescue her. Okay. That was a weird sentence. I'm assuming Sinister discovers Jean's gone, and at that point she sends out a psychic call. That was a very weird sentence. Odd grammar bothers me. You may have noticed it. They arrive and use their powers to confront Sinister and his henchmen. Emma changes her mind and frees Scott and Jean, helping them escape along with the rest of the team. It is revealed that Sinister managed to obtain some of her DNA, enough to create a clone, but not enough to create a new specimen. This is set up for Madeline. Well, I mean, if Sinister's involved, then yeah, eventually they're going to get to the Madeline Pryor storyline. It kind of has to happen. Emma joins Xavier's school as a teacher, with Scott as a student. The news is rife with anti-mutant sentiment, and after they demonstrate their teamwork and hone their powers, Xavier reveals the lower levels of the mansion to them, including the danger room and some uniforms from Grant Morrison's run. Okay? He proposes they train to help him fulfill his dream and other mutants, thus forming the X-Men. Post-credit scene. Shown from behind, Magneto uses his powers to levitate his helmet toward him and puts it on while watching an anti-mutant protest on television. On his desk is a newspaper with an article about Charles opening a school for mutants so they can train and control their powers. Interesting. Just overall, I like it. That sounds like it could be a really good movie. One thing that definitely needs to be resolved is how many people are going to remember the events of Doomsday and or Secret Wars. That part has me curious because, again, all the evidence to this point. What's this? Oh, this is an editorial by the person that sent it. Oh, it's a list of comic references and shit like that. Okay, I don't care. Wait, what is this now? All right. Now, okay, so they're talking about unis from Grant Morrison's run. Now, I'm not 100% sure which one it is. If it's the one I'm thinking, then it's Cyclops with the full head covering and stuff. Yep. Yep, I was right. What the hell? Okay, so I was kind of right and I was kind of wrong. This is Grant Morrison. Okay, so according to that thing, it's going to be these with the big X's across the chest, which they kind of adapted in the young cast Fox X-Men run as well. So if that's accurate, these are going to be our X uniforms going forward, at least for a while. What do you guys think about that? Personally, I'm a Claremont costume guy. You know, the animated series set of costumes. Those are pretty cool. They need to be done better than they were in the young cast Fox people. Yeah, those are not the same. Yeah, these don't have X's on them. I mean, they're similar in that, they're dark with yellow highlights and shit, but they don't have the actual X on them. But they'll be kind of similar to this, I would imagine. Except again, instead of the middle horizontals, it'll be the. All right. What do you guys think of those uniforms instead of the Claremont run ones that we're going to get with the original Fox X-Men and Doomsday? And what do you think about that potential plot, is what I'll call it right now, potential draft for the X-Men movie? What do you think? You like how they're constructing the story and stuff? I kind of dig it. I'm kind of down for that movie. Now, they're going to have to do a really good job with the random psychic link between Scott and Jean. Like, that's going to need an explanation. Like, for sure. Like, as a concept in general, cool, whatever. I mean, it's a little forced dyad-like. I hate to say it, but it kind of is. That's a little Raylo thing. But, setting that similarity aside, cool. But they're definitely gonna need to explain how that shit forms in a good way. Yeah, Sinister experimenting on mutants, that's straight up him. Now, here's a question. Because they used his regular street name in there, I wonder if he's just going to look normal and won't look like, the full-on Sinister we're used to. Because if I recall correctly, and please correct me if I am wrong, Mr. Essex, or whatever the fuck other name they're choosing to use in the movie, Mobley, Mabley, Babley, whatever the fuck that was. When Sinister still looks like a normal human, he doesn't start looking like what we're used to with the gray skin and the diamond and the vampire in the diamond in his forehead and the vampire cloak until after he meets up with Apocalypse, and Apocalypse, does some apocalypsing on him. So I'm thinking it's entirely possible that Adam Driver is just going to look like Adam Driver for this movie. And if he ends up looking like the Sinister we're all familiar with, and they don't involve Apocalypse with it, that's going to be a little weird. Like, because there was a rumor out there the other day, or I can't remember who put it out there, that essentially, Sinister is going to be a pretty active big bad, but that eventually he's going to lead to someone bigger. So basically, he's going to be Loki. What Loki was to Thanos, he's going to be to Apocalypse, because, again, Sinister doesn't look like what we're used to him looking like without Apocalypse. So, I'm thinking we're going to get a pretty normal looking Adam Driver playing Nathan or Nathaniel, again, whichever last name they decided to choose. And he's just going to look like Adam Driver for this movie. If that shit we just went over is accurate. See people talking about the Doomsday beginning. Yes, I was planning on talking about that. C-Dub, stand off. Yeah, we're gonna get to that actually. Stand off. So yeah, as per usual with any speculation we do, that's based off the assumption that what we just went over is accurate. Because otherwise, why speculate on it if we're like, yeah, fuck that, that's bullshit. So I find a vast majority of that plausible. I guess that's the best way to put it. I find it quite plausible. Again, my biggest hangups are it's assuming everyone's going to remember at a minimum Doomsday and all the fuckery that happens on our planet. Almost nobody should remember actual Battle World, but I suppose people remembering the lead up and like what happened, and probably in the recreation they'll just be given some kind of memory about it being resolved. I feel like maybe that's a possibility, but I suppose people remembering all the fuckery that happens in Doomsday isn't that big a deal. If they remember Battle World, that'd be weird. So I guess that could fly, but I'm still like little. They can come up with other reasons for people to be pissed at mutants. That's funny. That was weird. What the fuck was that? That's nothing I set up. I don't know where that came from at all. That's crazy. But yeah, I find it the vast majority of it plausible. Aside from whether or not people are going to remember Doomsday, and that's why they're pissed at mutants, or if they come up with something else. Whatever. People have to be pissed at mutants for this shit to work. The inciting incident or incidents could be Doomsday. They could come up with something original for the movie, cover it in like, news reports and shit like that. That's totally possible. But yeah, an essential part is people got to be mad at the mutants for whatever reason. And then memories from Doomsday, yeah, we'll see. I'm hung up on that a little bit, and then like this out of nowhere psychic connection, force dyad sounding shit between Jean and Scott. That's gonna need a good fucking explanation. Because in that outline, I guess you want to call it, for lack of a better term, synopsis, maybe summary. It's just like poof, it's there. No details on how it happened or nothing. So if this ends up being the case, and that's what happens, then yeah, they're gonna need to do something. Maybe I don't know. Maybe something happens with Scott where he just broadcasts like maybe Jean is working on her powers with the professor and picks up on like him. And then it just sticks. That could work, I guess. Obviously it'd have to be fleshed out by much more creative people than myself, but I can see that happening. Like, she's training with Charles, doing her thing, and something super bad happens with Scott since she's, trying to expand her range in this training or whatever and increase her power. She, like, picks up on it, gets dragged in. Something like that could work. I think something like that could definitely work. Good to see you too, brother. Yeah. What do you guys think, though? I think it's pretty plausible. I like it. The Magneto post-credit scene also makes sense because, again, all the reports are that he's not going to be in the main part of the movie, at least. Oh, shit. I put an extra 0 on there. That's going to hurt. Unless I win. I only meant to do 10. Oh, wait. I don't think it'll let me do that much. 10's the max anyway. It won't even respond to that. There we go. But yeah. If that's accurate, I dig it. I think that's going to make a pretty good movie. Haha. Booyah. sounds pretty cool. When do I think we'll see Hercules? Fuck, I have no idea, bro. I know he popped up in that post-credit scene for Love and Thunder, but if they ever decide to bring him in, it's going to be not soon. I'll put it that way. I don't see it happening anytime soon. Possibly Thor 5, depending on what direction they want to go with that, if they even make that. But outside of that, I have no idea when or even why they'd bring him in. Honestly, I just for me, I honestly couldn't give a fuck less if they ever picked up that thread with Hercules. That's just me. I'm gonna grab a beverage. I'll be right back. I opined on that a lot more than I thought I would. Did I not bookmark that shit? Oh, you dumb. Oh, I did not. Otherwise, I would have been way more than that. Yeah. I've decided not to rant. Okay. Stop it. What are we doing here? Interesting. All right. Well, let's chit chat about this. Now, we have talked about. Damn it, I forgot to start recording these. I keep forgetting. I want to start doing a little bit of Josh work, recording this shit, and fucking putting them out as individual videos. Not on a separate channel, though. Did I see the rumor that Wonder Woman 3 may be in production? I did not. I don't know why the Wonder Woman 3 would be in production, because that was DCEU first two. I doubt James Gunn is going to continue that. And after the way Wonder Woman 84 bombed, I don't think regular ass Warner Brothers is going to do that either. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and, in my opinion, say that is not a thing. Oh yeah, the 2 Doctor Doom theory? Jesus Christ. That's all clickbait bullshit. I know fucking Eric Voss put that out there in a big old video. Like, dog, This is some seriously disingenuous clickbaity bullshit because no, there's not two Dooms in fucking Doomsday. There's RDJ and there's RDJ. And that's it. It's two costumes, but it's not two Dooms. Depending if Thor even lives past Secret Wars, yeah, there's also that. Alright, so it would appear that the 2029 Marvel slate is going to be just as active as 2028. According to Charles Murphy here, there are 3 Marvel films scheduled to be released in 2029 on May 4th, July 13th, and November 9th. We have 2 this year, 1 next year, and then 3 in 2028, 3 in 2029. Now, obviously, we've talked a lot about the potential cutbacks that have been supposed to have been coming, and that, at least on the Disney Plus side, are now coming. But yeah, they were saying they're supposed to be cutting back on movies, and now we're about to have 2 years in a row of 3 movies each, which doesn't feel much like a cutback. But they believe 2 Dooms because of the eye color. You know, I've been watching that trailer a lot on like my TV, and his eye color actually does not change. The lighting hitting his eyes changes. There's lighting changes, but the actual colors of his irises do not change. People just don't be paying attention. Or they just seeing what they want to see. Now, I suppose you could say the same thing about me, except for I sit like 4 feet away from my 65-inch. I'm not going to miss fucking eye color changes. I'm just not. So, again, 3 more movies in 29. I'm not mad about it. I mean, it kind of makes Marvel look like a bunch of hypocrites, but I'm not mad about it. Now, of course, if they're doing significant cutbacks on their Disney Plus shit, that of course leaves them more money to do movies and more time to do movies, and it is, after all, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So they really should be going movie heavy anyway. But setting all that, what they said and what they're doing shit aside, we already know in 2028 we are getting the X-Men in May, Ghost Rider in July, and Black Panther 3 in, is that November? Is that November? Is that, you guys, excuse me, you guys see me doing the search. Oh, December 15th. Okay. So yeah. They're really starting to dig that fucking week before ish Christmas time slot, aren't they? Because we got Doomsday 18th this year, we got Secret Wars 17th the next year, where it will then proceed to shit on the hunt for Gollum. Warner Brothers is just suicidal with going against Avengers movies. And then Black Panther 3. 17th, 18th, 15th. I mean, I ain't mad about it. I just find it kind of interesting. Anyway, but yeah, so X-Men, Ghost Rider, Black Panther 3, and 28. What the fuck could they be putting out in 29, chat? Doctor Strange 3, maybe? Thor 5, maybe? Maybe they'll bang out an X-Men sequel. Maybe they'll drop an Avengers movie. What else could it be? Did I say Thor 5? I probably already said Thor 5. Doctor Strange 3, Thor 5. That's only 2 of the slots. Oh, Nova movie. Big X-Men movie about Apocalypse. I don't think they're going to bring in Apocalypse that quickly. I think we're not going to see Apocalypse probably till mid to 2/3 of the way through the saga. Hell, maybe they'll save him for The way they did for Thanos for like the entire thing until the very end. Big old war with Apocalypse for 2 movies. I'd be down for that shit. Yeah, I'm thinking Nova's a definite possibility. I'm trying to think what else could they do. Oh, Shang-Chi 2 could be one of them if they want to make a second one. I don't know that personally. I don't think we need a Shang-Chi 2. I know Destin Daniel wants to do one. I know Simu Liu wants to do one. That movie does have its fans, but like honestly, I don't. I personally don't need a Shang-Chi 2. Like, no offense to the Shang-Chi fans, no offense to Simu, but yeah. And then, of course, he also reminds us that Sony picked those Spidey dates. So it is entirely possible that one of these Sony could be like, hey, we'll take one of those for Spider-Man 5. That's another possibility. If that happens, I would guess they're going to go for more July Magic and take. Let's back up. Go for more July Magic and take the 13th. In which case, then Marvel would only have to fill 2 slots themselves. I think they need to do a Doc Strange 3 because if all the rumors are true, he's gonna need a redemption arc in the eyes of a lot of people. Right? I would definitely make Doc Strange 3 that one of these. And honestly, I would get Nova going. Let's get this cosmic side of shit going, yo. You know? Let's set up the Annihilation Wave for a big crossover movie. So yeah, I'd be down for Doc Strange 3, Sony to take the July spot for Spider-Man 5, and then Nova in November. That sounds like a good slate to me. I have no idea what they're going to do, but I like the sound of that. Doc Strange 3, Spider-Man 5, Nova. I guess the best way to put that is that's what I would do. Were I the Hat Man, that's what I would do. Yeah. Who brought that? Oh yeah. Do I think the new X-Men will be introduced in Doomsday? I knew I was missing a question. No. I think there's a chance we'll see Jean, but I don't think we'll see any of the other new X-Men until Secret Wars. And here's why. A long time ago, in an interview, Kevin Feige said that Doomsday was going to be part of it, well, actually, I think he even said this about the King Dynasty when it was still King Dynasty, but it's staying the same for Doomsday, this is. That he was looking at King Dynasty and Secret Wars, or Doomsday and Secret Wars, or mostly Doomsday / King Dynasty, as a rousing goodbye to the Fox cast. So I don't think we're going to get new X-Men heavy in Doomsday. I think there's a good chance we'll see him in Secret Wars. At least some. No, Doomsday is all about the Fox people. Giving them their last hurrah, their send-off. Their absolute shellacking at the hands of Victor Von Doom. So based on Kevin, that's what I think is going to happen. And then, yes, you are the one saying off. I see people are talking about the Doomsday beginning with Toby. I guess it's pretty much confirmed. Well, we allegedly have some leaked photos about exactly what you're talking about. Now, these have been AI upscaled because I think the originals had like Russian watermarks all over them. I guess this comes from the Russian hackers. So yeah, here we have Toby in a CGI bodysuit. So evidently, his uniform is going to be CGI generated. And here we have, of course, Hugh, Toby mid-leap to go to battle. Now, why is Toby in a CGI, in a bodysuit set to be a CGI spider suit? Well, that is because there are rumors out there that he will be wearing his own pseudo version of an Iron Spider suit. It won't be the nanotech one like what Tony made for Holland, I don't think. I think it'll be a lot closer to, in terms of like how advanced it is, I think it's going to be a lot closer to like the early Mark suits from Iron Man, like that kind of thing. But yeah, there's rumors that it's going to be the Iron Spider, and if it is Iron Spider, then yeah, he's going to need to be in one of these suits for filming. Again, here in the suit, in the mocap suit, and then Wolverine all on him. Actually, this doesn't look very mocap. It just looks like clothes. But what is this shit? Interesting. Again, I'm not 100% sure of the veracity of these. This one's kind of questionable to me. And then, right, this is obviously off camera, them just talking about something. And then them posing others not. See, here he's back in the fucking CG suit. Or the mocap suit. I don't know what this contraption is on Hugh's head. So yeah, if these photos are real, then yeah, it pretty much confirms the beginning of Doomsday being them going at it for the fate of Toby's universe. So we got mid-fight, which is dope. Wolvie in the cowl. Not sure what this is. I don't know why. Why does it look like he has a Wolverine cowl here as well? I'm a little confused about that shit. And then this is them chilling between filming scenes, I'm guessing. Otherwise, he wouldn't really need a blanket, nor would he look normal. And then them posing together again between scenes or whatever. Not sure what the fuck the deal is with this on his head. Maybe it's like a stand-in for the cowl for filming, because maybe the cowl gets in the way a bit when they really need to get down to business. I don't know, we'll see. Yeah. More potential confirmation about the beginning of the Doomsday. What do y'all think about those images? You want to see a Spider-Man movie with Venom and Null? I mean, Spider-Man 6, The King in Black would be cool. I don't remember how much Spider-Man's actually involved in the King in Black story. I mean, he's got to be involved, but I don't know how much he's actually involved in that. I would have to research that one. Fuck you, Streamlabs. All right, gotta talk about David Harbour. No, so it's literally one thing. Okay, so okay. All right, so David Harbour, Red Guardian, was doing an interview with Variety about various things, mostly GTF St. Louis. But of course, you know, he is a Red Guardian, and he will be in Doomsday, being a goofball and a goomer, running around doing stupid shit. But so, of course, in an interview, he's going to be asked about it because Doomsday comes out in 4 months, and this is what he had to say. This is what the interviewer article writer had to say. And of course, he's reprising his Red Guardian role in Avengers Doomsday out in December. As always, we pressed Harbour for any detail about the next Marvel Cinematic Universe installment. Excuse me. And asked him to recite a line from the movie completely out of context. He offers a deadpan line in a Russian accent and pointing, "You are Tony Stark." And then he says something else cool nerdy down here, which is, "I've always thought the Warcraft universe is underutilized. It's as good as the Greek, as good as the Odyssey. Come on, Chris Nolan. I want to see a Chris Nolan version of World of Warcraft." I mean, I'm down for that. I love me some WoW. Except I still need to watch the animated one now that I think about it. I gotta go find that shit. Anyway, besides the point, World of Warcraft. Yeah, so the line he says from Doomsday, if he's being serious, completely out of context, is, "You are Tony Stark." This has implications, or potential implications, chat. Obviously, if he's being dead ass accurate and not like quoting a joke line, because remember, the stipulation was it had to be completely out of context. So who knows what the circumstances are surrounding that line, but we're going to go off appearances. And if this is literally what he's saying in the situation, it looks like he's saying it, which is, with Doom in the fucking room with him. It would appear that despite earlier reports from John Campea and others that characters are going to see Doom's face. And there are plenty of other people out there. You remember those old images from way back that supposedly came from test makeup where Downey had that big ass fucking scar down the middle of his face in the one, and then in the next one he still had the scar but also looked like someone had dumped acid on his face as well. And then you put that with he's going to be in 2 costumes or whatever. Actually, the 2 costume thing doesn't matter because he can still be super fucked up under the 1 costume before his super dope costume gets put on. Anyway, but the implication is that characters, are going to see him maskless. Now, reports have been that the audience will be able to see him maskless, but the characters will not. So one or two things is true. A, he's in a dead-ass serious scene where Doom's face is revealed and he looks like Tony and people will lose their fucking minds. Or B, it's part of some gag bit. And considering we're talking about the character of Red Guardian, either one could be true. Because he is a fucking goofball. But yeah, it is now possible that the earlier reports are wrong and that the characters will see Doom's face in Doomsday. Now, that could lead to all kinds of obviously massively emotional moments, especially like not all the new Avengers knew Tony personally, but they all know who he was at this point, since he died in Endgame. They would know what he looks like. So it would be a shock to everybody, but like the people that like knew Tony would probably feel like they got punched in the fucking chest. Very, very hard. They would be floored, dumbfounded, amazed. They would just totally glitch. It would be crazy. That reveal would be crazy. And they could play with a lot of emotion in that scene if they choose to do it. I mean, that's ever since RDJ was cast, it's been talked about. It has to be for a fucking reason. That Doctor Doom is going to have Tony Stark's face. There has to be a reason behind it more than he looks like fucking Tony Stark. Because something that simple would also be fucking lame as shit. There has to be a tie. A fairly significant tie. Now, you all know that I buy into the theory that 616 Tony Stark, our Tony Stark, was actually a variant of Doom. That He Who Remains pulled shenanigans with his life story and made him a Stark and a hero instead of a Von Doom and a power-hungry, villainous type guy. Yeah. So obviously, we'll see in a few months, and we don't know exactly how Harbor meant it. Because again, they told him to do a line, one line, completely out of context. The exact words, completely out of context. So we will see how that shit goes, but it's interesting that he chose that line. Now, again, it could be for one of two reasons. He could be wanting to tease something major like a fucking idiot, or he could be trolling. No way to know for sure, but it's still interesting that he would choose that. Got some grainy ass Doomsday photos. Check these out. Got Magneto being held by a Sentinel. And if this is green like it looks, that would be a Doom-controlled Sentinel. I don't know what the fuck this shit is. Maybe these are support lines, like this is a raw image. Yeah, so if accurate, he gonna be getting squeezed by a Sentinel. And then another super grainy one of Wolvie and Toby in his mocap suit. Loki and Mobius. And then a whole pantheon of shit that I'm not going to zoom in on because I don't fucking want to. It looks like a lot of Loki and Mobius. Yeah. We got a lot of Loki here. Oh, there's that Toby and what you mentioned. This is that one small now. Can't tell who this is that he's talking to though. This is not Mobius. Who the hell is that Bucky? No, Bucky has short hair now. Who the fuck is he talking to? Any ideas, chat? Who is this? Do you think this is a male or a female? Very curious about that one. Looking by himself. I would love to know. Wish I could figure out who that is. Would be interesting. And then that image again, Loki and Mobius. Another image of Hugh and Toby. Close up on Loki. Loki and who the fuck knows. Who the fuck is that? Okay, if that's the same person as the picture up top, we're talking about a female here. Oh, they're so grainy. I assume to keep from getting fucking DMCA'd. Loki again. Loki again. A lot of this appears to be at the TVA. There's this person again, and you still... Fuck me! Whoever put these out, I fucking hate you. Can't tell who or what is happening here either. Oh. Is this some Sentinel action? Is that what that is? Is that Scott? I can't tell. Oh no, that's Wolverine. Oh, I think this is Hugh and Toby again. Yeah, that's Hugh and Toby. Yeah, Loki and TVA. Is that you? This one? Does that look yellow and blue to you guys? I see Dan creeping up on the 2 million. Oopsie. Oh shit. Nope, that's Mobius. I thought for a minute that was a bald head. But it's not. I think that's Mobius. The hair looks darker, but who knows? It's grainy as shit. Obviously, some kind of big room in the TVA. Damn. I wish these were a little more. No, that's Mobius right there. Who is that? Is that Hiddleston face down, being shoved down by somebody? Almost looks like someone's got his face shoved. Someone's shoving him into the table. Someone large? What the fuck is happening there? More Hugh and Toby, maybe? That's definitely more Hugh and Toby. Is this a portrait? Because this is Mobius and Loki. Is this a person or a portrait? So grainy. Again, I'm sure purposefully grainy, but still, fuck. That's more Hugh and Toby. Is that Mobius or is that somebody else? No, that's Mobius, maybe. Who the fuck are these people? Damn it. So frustrating. Where is this? Is this inside the TVA somewhere? Because that doesn't look like any part of the TVA we're used to. At least not that I can recognize. This all appears to be in the same shit right here. fuck is this? Huh. Looks like there's some interesting shit going on here if these are real. I think this is all TVA shit of some sort or another. Kind of what it looks like. Except for the Toby and Hugh stuff. All the Loki stuff I think is in the TVA. But I'm not for certain sure because some of these, like these here, look like they're outside the TVA. Possibly. Ooh, you know what? This might be the castle at the end of time. That's what this shit might be. That would make sense. This one and this one, and this one. Like all the weirdly kind of pseudo green, oddly lit shit. I think that this all might be the castle at the end of time, maybe. Or is it in the Illume room? No, I don't think it's the Illume room. I think this shit's the castle at the end of time. Anyway, very interesting stuff there, at least in my opinion. What do you guys think? Alright, well, someone else needs to roll. I'm not rolling now after that roll by Spicy. Damn, what the fuck, dog? Come on. Here we go. What do you think, chat? Oh, are you doing me a solid, buddy? Oh, thank you. Sound like you can't afford it. Oopsie. And of course, I still fucking lose anyway. Oh well. Excuse me. It's been kind of a long week. I had to work this morning. But was not pleased, but oh well. It is what it is. And I got work again on 2 Saturdays. I don't know what the fuck up with that. Normally I got like 5 or 6 weeks between Saturdays, but not this time. Gotta work again on the whatever day ends up being 5th. It was 4th, 5th. I can't think of it off the top of my head. Wait. Yep, it'll be the 5th. Yeah, I finger counted it. I don't fucking care. Ain't a shame. Gotta do what you gotta do sometimes, chat. Sometimes you gotta finger count. Alright. What the hell? Shit from last Saturday. What the hell? Alright, chat. We have one thing left to talk about. It's the big dog. It's the full fucking plot leak for Doomsday. But I gotta pee first. So, enjoy. All right, time to clean up. Sydney Sweeney News, Blue Mystique, yes. I am in favor of that. I'd be very much in favor of that. All right, chat. Yay! Finally fucking won one. All right, chat. Are you ready? Are you prepared? Spoiler motherfucking warning. I don't have a banner. I don't have nothing. Do it this way, I guess. There. Someone clicks in, maybe they'll see that in there. All right. Potential humongous motherfucking spoilers for Avengers Doomsday. I say potential because, as with all leaks, with them, especially with a fucking Marvel movie, they change shit a lot. So, who knows how old this information that we're about to go over is. It could be months old. And if it's months old, it's probably not very fucking accurate anymore. Like, let's be real. This is how Marvel operates. Again, with the plussing. So, if this, what we're about to go over right here, is even more than like a month or so old, then the chances of it being inaccurate to a greater or lesser extent are pretty fucking high. Because Marvel. But, that aside, let's go over it. It all begins on Earth 10005. We see Professor X and Magneto playing chess while devising a plan to attack another Earth. So that's a reference to the December teaser with those two. They're playing chess. They have a bomb created by Beast. Suddenly, another Earth appears on the horizon. Earth 96238 and the X-Men, who have faced similar situations before, spring into action. Arriving on Earth 96238, where it is raining, a group of Sentinels, along with Magneto, travel to New York City transporting a destructive bomb. So they have Sentinels working for them, allegedly. That's interesting. Meanwhile, Deadpool and Wolverine discover Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire's presence, and a fight ensues. Most of the battle takes place on a rooftop. Spider-Man defeats them, but in the end, it is too late. Magneto and the Guardians... Guardians? What Guardian? What is it? What? In the Guardians? Yeah, that's what they're calling themselves. I doubt he means the Guardians of the Galaxy. Maybe they meant Sentinels. Have already destroyed New York and New Jersey. Well, Ian McKellen has said publicly more than once that he destroys New Jersey. So that makes sense. Spider-Man remains on his knees contemplating the destruction, which, by the way, that zooming shot in the trailer that looks like a massively wrecked city, that even though reads like, Victor, did you do this? It might not necessarily be that panned over city that Reed is talking about. That could be this. Let's keep that in mind. We can't know for sure yet. Spider-Man remains on his knees, contemplating the destruction. Wolverine tries to explain why this is happening, but Magneto finds them and steals the device to activate the bomb. Spider-Man tries to attack Magneto, but is defeated. Wolverine tries to save him, but it's too late to escape. From Charles Xavier's window, Raimi's Earth explodes. That's a reference to both trailers. And Magneto and Deadpool return through the portal, leaving Wolverine behind. The action then shifts to Tony Stark's funeral. Ooh. Steve speaks with some of the heroes, including Ant-Man, before embarking on a journey to retrieve the Infinity Stone. I don't know what he means by retrieve. He'd be putting them back. Traveling through time, he decides to stay with Peggy, and they have a son named Jim. One day, Loki visits them. Upon seeing him, Steve immediately suspects something is wrong and thinks he's going to attack them. However, Loki calms him down and explains that this isn't the same Loki he fought in the past, but a different, godlike version who now controls the timelines of the multiverse. He warns him about the existence of the TVA and explains that their presence in this era is causing an invasion, I assume they mean incursion, and that they will soon destroy this timeline because Steve should never have stayed there or had a child. To save them and prevent the collapse, Loki offers them a way out, transporting them to another place where they won't invade. Okay. Oh, he means invade by the TVA. Alright. To a universe where they don't exist and where they can live in peace. The Fantastic Four's universe. Before leaving, Loki gives Steve a special card so he can contact him. Steve and his family accepted the offer and have been living in this new universe for 10 years. The sequence continues with a scene showing events from 10 years prior. Reed Richards, Johnny Storm, and the Thing are at a baseball game. There's an accident involving the stadium fence, and Steve and Jim help people move and dismantle it. Who the fuck is... Oh, Steve and Jim. Okay. Ben notices something unusual, and when he goes to investigate, they receive a burglary alert from the back of the building and panic, racing home in the Fantastic car. Upon arriving, they're surprised to find everything calm. There, they see Dr. Doom with Sue Storm, Herbie, and Franklin. Although Reed is surprised by their sudden encounter, he knows Victor well. Reed, Ben, and Victor studied together at university. Sue knows Victor because he rules Latveria, a country not part of the Life Foundation. However, the connection runs deeper. It's well known that Victor lost his wife and son. Victor only became ruler of Latveria later when he overthrew the brutal regime with his Doombot. Victor is, so to speak, Earth's Doctor Strange, the master of magic and sorcery. Because of this, in addition to the rumors about witches and witchcraft, Sue is nervous. Victor warns Reed that he fears their Earth will be the next victim of the invasion. So he thinks he's warning him about a TVA attack and not an incursion? Victor is very familiar with the invasions and explains to the Fantastic Four that when the fabric between two realities is torn... Okay, so they keep using invasion and it is incursion. The centers of each are drawn to one another, and once the invasion is successful, incursion, both universes cease to exist. The center, of course, is Earth. Reed and Victor investigate and discover 3 anomalies on their Earth, but in the same location. We see that Steve and his family grew up together on this Earth. Steve has a beard and long hair, and James is now about 10 or 11 years old. Victor and Reed encounter these anomalies, but are surprised to discover that they are simply a happy family. Steve confesses and explains how he ended up there. They then warn Steve about what is happening in the multiverse. Inspired by the Fantastic Four and their exploits in the forest. What the fuck? What do you mean exploits in the... I don't know what the fuck that shit is about. Thor and his adopted daughter Love traveled through space together. However, Love is now plagued by nightmares about the incursions. I'm just going to say incursions because that's what the fuck it's supposed to be. Thor travels to New Asgard while Valkyrie and an Asgardian doctor are examining a young girl who is dying due to the collapse of the multiverse. Valkyrie receives a call from the Avengers informing her of the ship's arrival on Earth. Thor leaves Love on New Asgard and heads to the Fantastic Four ship. Sam Wilson's Avengers are also notified. Thor boards the Excelsior, nice, and is shocked to see Steve. Thor doesn't even believe him until he picks up Mjolnir, as in the trailer. Thor and Steve embrace, and the Excelsior is forced to dock at the new Avengers Tower. As soon as they board, Sam's team arrives and immediately argues with Bucky about which team should take command. Scott Lang spends some time with Ghost. Steve gets off the Excelsior and almost everyone is surprised to see him. Steve has a pleasant reunion with Sam, Scott, and Bucky. He also shares a touching moment with Elena Belova as they discuss Natasha. We've heard about that before. Steve Rogers brings the two groups of Avengers together with a Captain America-style speech, focusing not only on the incursions, but also on the cosmic crisis. Sam and Steve make plans to travel to Wakanda, while Shuri tells Sam that she too is aware of the space crisis and is already working on a solution. A group of heroes reunites with the people of Wakanda, and Steve is shocked to learn of T'Challa's death. A small group heads to Talocan, where the effects of the space crisis are visible. The sky has turned red, and because of this, Namor used all the water that normally filled Talocan to create a massive water barrier around it. Okay, so that's why that looks like a cut. Shuri and M'Baku then travel to Talocan along with Sue, Ben, Bucky, Ghost, Falcon, and the American agent. The rest remain in Wakanda searching for a solution. Sue uses her powers to cross the barrier, and upon reaching Namor, discovers that he is extremely hostile. He refuses to cooperate with Shuri, and this is where we see Sue's diplomatic skills in action. She manages to unite the people of Wakanda and the Talokans. They return to Wakanda with Namor, and when they arrive, they discover that the situation is hopeless. No solution has ever been found. Reed even begins to believe that the multiverse's fate always leads to death, but he remains open to other options. However, Doom suggests attacking the X-Men's Earth, which is causing an incursion between 828 and 616. Sam suggests a diplomatic approach, while Namor believes bloodshed is the way forward. How is 10005 causing an incursion between 828 and 616? Interesting. Scott dismisses the quantum dimension and mentions his encounter with Kang. Doom looks at Scott, referring to this comment. So we might get a Kang name drop. Alright. Steve rejects the Infinity Stones, swearing they are the reason for their current predicament. Reed jokes that Galactus would be useful in this situation, but no one knows where he is. This joke gives Reed an idea. What if they use the same technology they used to exile Galactus? Reed believes that if they build 3 cannons, one on each Earth, it will figuratively help separate them. However, they must hurry because time is running out. Steve splits into 3 teams, and one of them remains in Wakanda to begin constructing their cannon. Wakanda already possesses advanced technology that could easily replicate what the Fantastic Four did in First Step. The team travels to Earth 828, specifically to the Baxter building, to construct their cannon. The final team must travel to another Earth, 1005, and convince the heroes there to listen to the plan. This is considered the most important task, so the most famous heroes participate. Victor, Reed with Herbie, Sam, Elena, and Shang-Chi are the ones who go. Backed up by the trailer. Or inspired by the trailer. Who knows? Steve feels uneasy around Doom and tells Thor and Loki about it. Where the fuck did Loki come from? Thor insists he take him to Loki, so they devise a plan to reach the TVA using the map Loki left him. Sue and Shuri also have their own problems, and Sue admits to Shuri that something is wrong with Victor, so they explore other options on their own. The team remaining on 616 consists of Shuri, Sue with Franklin, Namor, Steve, Thor, Ant-Man, and Red Guardian. The team going to Earth 828 consists of Johnny, the Thing, Falcon, U.S. Agent, Ghost, and Bucky. After traveling on the Excelsior, Reed, accompanied by Herbie, Sam Wilson, Yelena Belova, Shang-Chi, and Dr. Doom board a Quinjet bound for Earth 10005. Upon landing at the X-Mansion, they're immediately captured by a group of Guardians guarding the building. I assume they mean Sentinels. Doom remains outside for cover while the rest of the team stealthily enters. They're immediately captured. How are they doing that shit? This is what makes me wonder about some of these things. The X-Men have survived many incursions before and have become extremely hostile. They trust no one and believe the heroes of 616 and the Fantastic Four have come to destroy them, so they attack without hesitation. As they nervously wander the halls, Nightcrawler stalks them from the shadows. Upon reaching the danger room, they encounter Mystique. Elena ignores Reed's direct orders and goes on the offensive. The battle is intense. Mystique changes her appearance, first becoming Elena herself, and then Natasha, which greatly annoys Elena, but she eventually manages to regain her advantage. Meanwhile, Shang-Chi fights Gambit in a flawless and evenly matched battle that ends in a draw. A lot of Shang-Chi fans are calling bullshit on that, and I kind of agree with them. Gambit's a badass to fight, but Shang-Chi is widely regarded as one of, if not the best martial artists in, Marvel. So, yeah. Reed tries to contain Deadpool in a chaotic fight that culminates in a comedic Deadpool 2-esque moment when Wade sits on Reed's swollen face. Oh, Jesus Christ. That's still in there? Please cut that. At the same time, Cyclops attacks Sam Wilson and fires an optic blast so destructive that it appears to kill him. Damn. The entire battle is suddenly interrupted when Beast, the figure shown in the trailer descending the stairs, appears. Realizing they pose no direct threat, Beast leads them to the medical bay where they find Monica Rambeau. Monica is trapped on Earth 1005 following recent events and is gravely ill from being in the wrong reality. Recent events being the end of the Marvels. Beast explains to Reed that Monica's presence in this universe is accelerating the incursion of her to a critical level. He also reveals that... Oh, I see what they're doing. They are purposefully hiding some shit with those stupid-ass dots. So, inspired by the Fantastic Four and their exploits in the forest, which, we don't get to find out about. And then now, he also reveals that something. So, the leaker is even hiding shit. That's fun. Excuse me one moment. My cat is being a dick. Fucking cat. Okay, so the leaker is not leaking everything. Interesting choice. Ugh. Moving along. Finally, Reed and Doom manage to meet with Xavier and Magneto. As the frustrated X-Men watch, Reed and Doom present their true solution to preventing the multiverse's collapse, constructing massive cannons on each remaining Earth that will fire a force capable of permanently separating universes and preventing incursions once and for all. After an explanation, Reed manages to convince Xavier and Magneto to join the plan and refuse to use the destructive bomb. Upon returning to 616, Steve and Thor left their group and headed to the TVA. The problem was that they found it destroyed and littered with the corpses of its agents. Mobius was there and arrived himself. Mobius helped Steve and Thor find Loki. They arrived at the end of time and saw him dead at the foot of the throne. According to some leaks, missing his heart. Upon returning to 616... Oh, wait. Okay. His heart had been ripped from his body. God damn it. I should have just kept fucking reading. The Watcher appeared. What? Alright. And told Steve and Thor what had happened. The cause was a group of followers and Doom. Then he took Steve and Thor to Earth 1005 because everyone there was in danger. Alright, the Watcher maybe even. Steve and Thor return to 1005 and the trailer shows Thor's arrival in the ensuing battle. Reed is completely stunned and refuses to believe Victor did such a thing. He yells in Victor's face. But sadly, it's true. Victor unleashes half a dozen Guardians, Sentinels, against the Avengers and the X-Men. Teams join forces to fight them. However, Deadpool leaves promising to find proper reinforcements and disappears from the battlefield. Doom fights all the Avengers and easily defeats them. The mutants are also defeated. Magneto fights Doom, putting up a decent fight, but he ends up severely wounded in the arm. I guess that's why he's in the sling in the trailer. Unfortunately, Mystique, who saves Magneto's life, and Nightcrawler, who saves everyone from the Sentinel's attack and teleports them to safety, are killed by Doom. Apropos to Doom killing Nightcrawler, Alex Perez had tweeted something about how they're, what happened to Nightcrawler in X-Men 97. I'm like, they're doing your boy dirty. And then he retweeted my reply to him by saying, yeah, between this and Secret War, or between this and Doomsday, it's really sucked. I'm like, wait, hold up. Alex Perez retweeted my response to him and basically confirmed that Nightcrawler gonna die in Doomsday. Using my tweet. That was pretty cool. Anyway, and so here it is right here too. Nightcrawler killed by Doom, along with Mystique. In a fight scene, the mutant Avengers are insufficient to defeat the Sentinels, and the Brotherhood arrives to help. The Scarlet Witch of this universe, along with Polaris, Quicksilver, and other mutants, easily destroys all the Sentinels. Doom finds what the Scarlet Witch of this universe is looking for, which they're not saying. Okay. Steve realizes this and tries to save Wanda from this universe, but Doom's attack stuns him, and Wanda is kidnapped. Victor uses the Ultimate Annihilator, that's not the actual name of it, Ultimate Nullifier, to destroy the X-Men's world. And you guys, I'm pretty sure we went over the image of it. I can't remember if it was the Hot Toy or one of the others, where Victor is holding some kind of device. And in that one scene in the trailer, not the first time Reed asked Victor, but when he shouts at him the second time, it looks like Reed is holding Victor's hand, which has a device in it. Which kind of almost looks like the one from the Hot Toy. So, interesting. I wonder what the Scarlet Witch of that universe is looking for. So, Victor uses the Ultimate Nullifier to destroy the X-Men's world. The Avengers, the mutants, Reed, and Herbie escape by boarding the ship and traveling to Earth 828. The reality of Universe 10005 was destroyed by fate. Fate. Named Doom. The remaining Avengers, Reed Richards and Sue Storm, tell everyone about Victor Von Doom's past. Okay, so that's the meeting that we see at the beginning of this most recent trailer, where it like panned everybody. It all kind of appears to be in like a room in a house. Magneto's arm is in a sling in that section. Bucky has a personal mission to save Steve. He now has a family and must save him. Peggy and James. She is not the original Peggy, she's a witch. The original Peggy is dead. What? She tells Doom they're in the Baxter building and he orders the attack. The witch reveals her identity and kidnaps James. The attack on New York begins and the Baxter building is shown about to explode with everyone inside. A shot of Franklin and Johnny in the trailer. Okay. Franklin saves everyone. Charles admires Franklin as an Omega level mutant. Okay, well, that's the way that should be. Thor travels to 616, prays to Father Odin, which was the Thor clip from back last winter, and a new squad arrives. It includes Jane Foster, Heimdall, and Loki from Infinity War. The inhabitants of Wakanda and M'Baku also arrive with Thor. Valkyrie and Korg are also there. I'm okay with no Korg. Only 2 Earths remain in the entire multiverse. A portal appears in the sky leading to Earth 616 and then to Earth 828. Final attack begins. A showdown between Earth 616 and 828. Fantastic Four, the Avengers, and the X-Men arrive in Latveria from the Baxter building, while Thor and his army, along with the people of Wakanda, arrive from Earth, visible on the horizon. Victor returns Steve to his castle in Latveria. Steve gets up and sees Peggy following her to the altar where a fateful chair with a symbol in the center imbued with green magic sits. Followers begin to arrive surrounding Steve Rogers. The Green Witch is revealed to be Death. Ooh, not Sylvie. Did they really get Aubrey Plaza for this shit? Doom arrives with James. The boy is crying. As Doom's followers restrain Steve, Doom begins to speak to him, explaining that his interference was the reason for his downfall. Victor tells Steve that he was much like him, a family man. Victor studied the multiverse long before it began to collapse. He met his wife Valeria, and they had a son. Okay. So it's not a Sue Storm variant, it's his Lady Valeria from the comic. Okay. Then one day, 10 years ago, during a routine experiment, an anomaly occurred when Loki transported Steve to Earth 828, causing the experiment to fail. This resulted in the deaths of his wife and son and left him horribly disfigured. He grabs James and stabs him, killing him instantly. 3 witches are present with Boris. Stephen Strange. 3 witches are Death, green, the Ancient One, really, orange, and Clea, purple. And Boris wears a 3-dyed helmet with armor. Stephen Strange again. Doom personally ripped Loki's heart from his chest. Now his heart is on display along with some books. Damn. Victor corrupted Strange and Clea when they traveled to the Dark Dimension, making them believe that only he could save the multiverse. Victor sits on his throne, preparing his team and the Doombots to fight the invaders. He orders Strange to begin casting a spell from the book, the Word of God, not the Darkhold, using both Loki's heart and Wanda Maximoff's magic. Doom's followers are the leaders of each destroyed universe. Okay. Victor's main objective here is simple: to allow the final incursion to occur and rebuild the multiverse to resurrect his lost family. On 616, Sentry begins to sense something is amiss between Earth and the approaching next Earth. He unexpectedly encounters Vision with Tommy and Billy at Avengers Tower. Okay. Vision activates Stark's protocol for all the world's heroes and realizes that preventing the incursion is impossible. Meanwhile, on 828, the heroes arrive in Latveria from the Baxter Building, while Thor and his new Valhallan army arrive from 616. Dr. Doom and his team have prepared for this attack. Doom's followers and hundreds of Doombots are present. Deadpool returns, abandoning the heroes on Earth 10005. He arrives with a multiversal team: Blade, Elektra, and Phantom Rider? Phantom Rider. Now the question is this Snipes? Or did they mollify Mahershala with a fuck ton of money? I feel if it's along with Elektra, unless they recast, I feel like this is going to be Snipes and Garner. I don't know what's up with Phantom Rider. Interesting. The multiverse war erupts in Latveria, pitting the inhabitants of Wakanda, Thor's army, the Avengers, and the Fantastic Four against the Doombots and their variants. Their variants? So now we're back to dark. Now we're back to fucking variants that are Dark Avengers, basically. Okay. Namor and Shuri work together. Namor triggers a tsunami that destroys many Doombots. Shuri manages to infiltrate Doom's castle with Bucky to rescue Steve Rogers. Doctor Strange is the only member of Doom's team not involved in the events, as he is busy working on a spell involving Wanda, Loki's heart, and the Book of God, Word of God. Two of Doom's followers are watching Steve when they are intercepted by the Avengers, Shuri and Bucky, who rescue him. The action then shifts to 616, where it becomes clear that something is happening. The sky turns red, and hordes of Doombots and villains begin attacking New York City. They pass through a portal, possibly a wormhole, and a scene similar to the one in the 2012 Avengers movie unfolds. The new Avengers team defends Avengers Tower. Sentry, Spider-Man, Tom Holland Spider-Man? Really? Jean Grey, Punisher, and the Defenders, Wong, America Chavez, Cassie, Kate, Kamala, Star-Lord, Vision, She-Hulk, Hulk, and Carol arrive with the Guardians of the Galaxy and many others, including villains. They all heard Vision's call. The attack on 616 begins. Vision states that the next Earth is about to launch a direct attack. Sentry decides to perform a heroic act by flying into space to stop the attack with his bare hands. He buys time for others to escape. The war in New York is wreaking havoc throughout the city. Everyone is fighting Doombots and costumed followers of Doom. Spider-Man and other heroes deliver excellent action sequences. On 828, Sue, Franklin, and Charles are aboard Reed's ship, the Ark, prepared to withstand any change in a hostile environment and capable of surviving the collapse of the multiverse. Sue stays behind. She is pregnant. Okay. Charles acts as a mental link with all the mutant Avengers so they can communicate with each other and informs them that Bob is slowing down Earth so they can escape. There, Elena speaks with Bob and he says goodbye to her and her friends. One of the witches intercepts this message and teleports to the ship, killing Charles and kidnapping Sue and Franklin. Cyclops, Reed, Sam, and Magneto realize what's happening and go to the ship to protect them, but they arrive too late. The Avengers, Johnny, Ben, Thor, Loki, Lady Thor, and the Avengers of the Multiverse, are at Doom's castle and emerge victorious in the war against the Doombots and their followers. Doom fights them all, defeating them one by one. Steve tries to strike Doom with Mjolnir, but it shatters and Doom counterattacks with his sword. Bucky sacrifices himself to save Steve, dying and bidding him farewell. Three witches kill the Ghost Rider. Oh, maybe that's what they meant by Phantom Rider earlier. Duh, Jesus Christ. Okay, so they're implying that fucking the Goss is going to be in this. and Doom's followers fight Elena and Shuri. Shuri manages to defeat her and dies from her wound. Thor looks to the sky, closes his eyes, and receives Odin's call. The new armor and new powered yellow armor with yellow thunder rival Doom in battle. Thor takes the initiative in this fight. However, at a certain point, Thor begins to lose his power, and its strength starts to dwindle as Doom drains it to absorb it. He defeats Thor by cutting off his hand with his sword and defeats all of the Avengers. Reed's ship automatically activates and leaves 828. Reed, calling for Tim Franklin, is unable to save them. The Sentry crashes and the worlds begin to collide. The heroes simply ran out of time. Strange completes the spell just in time. This, Victor is finally able to alter the multiverse. Thus, reality ceases to exist. Two Earths collide. The screen fades to black, and Doom appears in white armor, seated in a chair next to Doctor Strange. The end. Holy shit. We gotta go over this shit. So, wow. That's what I'm gonna say first is fucking wow. And a lot of it checks out with leaks we've heard previous, but again, a clever person could have constructed that from leaks and clips and trailers and shit that are like, you know, out there. Woo! So, again, this should be taken with a grain of salt. We don't know how old it is. It could be very different, but a lot of it would appear to check out. And the beginning battle on Toby's Earth, which we've heard about for a while. Toby and Wolverine get stuck on that Earth and appear to die, but they'll be back in Secret Wars because the Secret Wars leak says they're going to be like a main, if not the main duo in that bitch. They got big roles in Secret Wars, is what I'm saying. So we have that. Raymond's Earth explodes. So there's the new shit. They flash back to Tony's funeral. And then they show him returning the Infinity Stones, not retrieving them. And then he stays with Peggy, and they have Sunday and Jen, and then Loki visits them. Nothing really new there. We suspect yada yada. Loki counts them down. About that. TVA explains that they're going to cause an incursion. They need to get the fuck out. So he takes them to 828. And then we're back to the baseball game thing. An accident involving the fence. Steve and Jim help people. Then notice something unusual and wonder what that is. Let's investigate. They get the alert where Doom. When we get there, the Doomsday. This we've all heard before. I like that they're establishing that Reed knows Victor well from college, the way it should be. Sue knows him because she's the diplomat with her Life Foundation. And he's ruling Latveria at the time. Okay, cool. So maybe that's why maybe that's the explanation for why the chair was empty in Latveria. The symbol on there notwithstanding, is because Doom's not part of the Life Foundation, so he wouldn't be there, even though she left a seat open for him. Look for you in the fairway, a whole 9 tomorrow at the BMW Championship. I'll be the guy planting the white flag to mark Inherent Drive and the stick rough. On CBS, I'll have a blue shirt right like that. That's dope, dude. Excuse me, that's pretty cool. If they stream it on Paramount Plus, I'll be able to because I don't have regular fucking cable. So, it's on Paramount Plus. I'll be able to check you out. Okay, so he knows Victor well. Sue knows Victor because of her diplomatic status, and again, his chair is empty because he's not part of Life Foundation. Connection runs deeper. It's well known that Victor lost his wife and son. Okay, so that's already been the case. Okay, so he lost his wife and son, and then he took over Life and his capacity for magic and sorcery is well known. Fuck yeah. It's on Paramount Plus? Alright, bet. Because of this, and in addition to the rumors about witches and witchcraft, so he's nervous. Okay, so that's been in a leak prior to. We got Victor talk about the incursions. He's very familiar. Explains the Fantastic Four, how they work. And this is how this is. You're on TV 3 times today. Box number 9. Nice. That's cool. Centers of reality source, center beats drawn, yada yada. Center forces Earth, yeah. Reed Victor investigates, discovers 3 anomalies on their Earth. Okay. So Steve, Peggy, and James are anomalies. James is now 10 or 11. That'll be interesting. I swear I remember something about them casting a kid around that age. Okay, so Victor and Reed go find Steve, Peggy, and James, have a little confession. Steve confesses, lets him know what happened, yada yada. And then we get to this, inspired by the Fantastic Four and their exploits in the forest, and this is where they start hiding shit. I don't know what the fuck that's about. That's weird. Now we try to get to Thor and Love. Love's having nightmares about the incursions. We go to New Asgard. The Avengers inform Valkyrie about the F-Force ship. Thor goes to the F-Force ship. Sam's Avengers are notified. And then we get that scene in the trailer where Thor walks on the ship and sees Steve, yada yada. So of course, you're docked at the new Avengers Tower. So the Thunderbolt Tower. I'm going to call that shit. Again. Now, I wonder if this is where we get Thor's speech in the first trailer. That's what it looks like. And it looks like they're all standing together in the new Avengers Tower. Is they bored? Yada yada. I feel like this argument here, Sam Steam Rise immediately arguing with Bucky, is when Thor steps in with that speech about putting aside your petty rivalries, yada yada. Scott Lang spent some time with Ghost. Well, they got to know each other, and Ant-Man and the Wasp. Or no, Ant-Man 3. No, it was Ant-Man and the Wasp. He gets off the Excelsior, and almost everyone's surprised to see him, yada yada, reading with him, blah blah blah. There's a touch moment with Elena as they discuss Natasha. We heard later about that. He's like, Natasha was family, so now you're family. Dry your eyes. Steve gives a speech. I'm assuming after Thor. Sam and Steve make plans to travel to Wakanda, yada yada. Sure he knows about shit too, working on it. Small group has Talocan, affect Arcane, skies turn red. Okay, so yeah, Namor used all the water that normally filled Talocan to create a massive barrier around it. So yeah, that's why Talocan looks like a fucking desert. Shireen and Baku travel along with Sue, Ben, Buck, the Ghost Falcon, and the American Agent. We've seen where they greet each other. We've seen where Shuri goes to we've seen Shuri and them. Well, at least some of them in the trailer. The newest trailer. In Namor's presence. And then, tense moments ensue. Rest remain in Wakanda. Sue uses her powers across the barrier. Discovers Namor's hostile. Shocker. Uses the copper of the Shuri, and this is where we see Sue's diplomatic skills in action. So in that tense moment, Sue steps in and does the business. Manages to unite people, return to Wakanda with Namor. And when they get there, they discover they're fucked. And Reed gets all fatalistic. And now here's where Doom starts enacting his plan. Doom suggests attacking the X-Men's Earth, which somehow in and of itself is causing an incursion between 828 and 616. And of course we have Sam suggesting diplomacy and Namor wanting to kill everybody, true to their characters. Scott says quantum realm won't work. Name drop King. We'll see if that actually happens. Doom looks at Scott when he talked about King. Interesting. Remember how in Quantumania King asked Scott if he killed him before? Maybe Doom's like looking at him because he's killed the King or the entire fucking council. He's like, nope, Infinity Stones is the reason we're here. Fuck those. Bring up Galactus. And then Reed's like, okay, let's build these cannons that I used to kick Galactus the fuck out and keep it separated. So then they split up. So then we split up. People stay in Wakanda. Other people go to 828. And then group goes to 10005. Then we get Victor, Reed, Sam, Elaine, and Shang-Chi. Of course, we saw that group in the trailer and some of the fighting in the first trailer. And a little bit in the second trailer. Now, where the hell Loki came from, I'm not sure. I think this might be a mystery. Steve feels the need to run and tells Thor and Loki about it. What? Where did Loki come from? This is one of the weird parts right here. I don't understand because Loki's here, but he has to take him to Loki. This makes no sense. So people are starting to become suspicious of Victor. Steve is, Sue is. So they take the Excelsior to the X-Men universe, and then hop on a twin jet and go on down. Somehow they're immediately captured, but also Doom stays outside for cover while everyone else stealthily enters. I'm guessing that after they're immediately captured, they thereafter, in a super easy, barely an inconvenience manner, get uncaptured. And then Doom stays outside while they go in there. And evidently they weren't stealthy enough because they get attacked, and then we get some of those scenes we've gotten in both those trailers. More the first one than the second one. And, I mean, more the CinemaCon one than the Comic-Con one. We get these fight scenes that we know about already. We did not know that Cyclops blasts Sam so hard it almost looks like it kills him. And then we have the Deadpool teabagging Reed. It's fun, it says Reed's swollen face. And then Beast pops in and somehow stops the fight. We go to Monica, whose body is not reacting well to being in the X-Men universe. And that Monica's presence there is also making an incursion worse. And then he reveals that another secret from the leaker. So they finally get to talk to Charles and Magneto, talk about building cannons, yada yada yada, convince them, of course they do. And then Steve and Thor dip out when they get back to 616, and then they go to the TVA and find Havoc and a dead Loki. Oh, they did that twice. Okay. Oh, that's why, because I read it here. That's why I said it before I read it down here, because this sentence. All this shit the same. This shit just got repeated there. That's where you see him dead with his heart ripped out. Now the Watcher. That's something we have heard nothing of to this point that I can recall. You got any of you guys remember hearing about the Watcher at all ever? I don't. I don't remember hearing about the Watcher being involved at all. So that is brand new fucking information, if accurate, of course. But the Watcher being involved is totally new and very interesting, but you know, considering the Watcher's role also makes perfect sense because the Watcher only shows up when the biggest of the biggest shit goes down. Yay. So, but still, I think that's pretty dope personally. The Watcher popping in, and then he takes Stephen Thor over to the X-Men universe. Trailer shows Thor's arrival in the ensuing battle. But why does that battle start? That's the thing. He's fully stunned and refuses to believe Victor did such a thing. I'm assuming fucks up the TVA. So at some point in time, he's going to go from normal costume to full armor in this shit. And we get the battle there. Doom kills Mystique and Nightcrawler. So, evidently the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants is going to pop in. And this is where we get 10005 Scarlet Witch. Now, will it or will it not be Lizzie? Don't know. Am I kidding about what? I don't think I'm kidding because I'm like reading this shit, but to which are you referring there, Mr. Delta Dan, sir? Watcher was in Fantastic Four. When was the Watcher in Fantastic Four? I need to rewatch Fantastic Four. When the fuck did that happen? I do not recall this. I'm not saying I disbelieve you. I'm just saying I don't recall this shit. Yeah, we have Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. That universe is Scarlet Witch. Whether or not it's Lizzie, hopefully it is. Polaris, Quicksilver, and other mutants. Easily destroys all the Sentinels. Now, it has been reported by multiple people, multiple times, that there are going to be a lot of characters in this that we have not heard about, that we know nothing about, and are supposed to be surprises. I'm assuming the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants falls under that. And then it says Doom finds what the Scarlet Witch of this universe was looking for. And of course we have no idea what that is. That is not being explained in this shit. Steve realizes that, tries to save Wanda, but Doom fucks him up and kidnaps Wanda. And then Victor uses the ultimate, what's that actually called? God damn it, nullifier, to destroy the X-Men world, and everyone escapes by hopping on the Excelsior and going to 828. He was in the Skyline? Shit. When? Before they battle Galactus? When, what's her butt shows up? Shalabal? I mean, Galactus qualifies as big potatoes. Galactus is big potatoes. He's not small potatoes. You'll send me a link? Alright, bet. What's up, Clash Without Gems? Welcome in. I'm sorry if you've been here before and I don't remember your name. I'm shitty with names. But thanks for popping in if this is your first time, and welcome. I appreciate you being here. I'm going to ask you to do me a favor, and everyone that hasn't done so, please hit the like. And if you are actually new here, Clash Without Gems, also please subscribe and hit the bell. And while I'm at it, join the Discord. That link will pop up here in a moment. Yeah, Galactus is big potatoes, so that makes sense. Okay, so they escape. X-Men Universe toast. That's when we get the scene in the newest trailer where they're having a confab and Sue makes that speech about, he used to be caring, kind, he used to be caring. That whole line. And now somehow Bucky's gotta save Steve. I don't know what. Save him, Peggy and James. Except somehow the original Peggy got dead and been replaced by a witch, who then rats them out to Doom. The witch reveals her identity and kidnaps James. I like how I like how the witch reveals her identity, but the leaker does not reveal the identity that the witch revealed. New York gets attacked. Baxter building got to get blown the fuck up. Franklin steps in and saves everyone. Charles is like, holy shit, he's an Omega level mutant. Yes. And then Thor goes 616. We get the prayer that we saw in the last winter. And then we get some more people from Valhalla. Jane, Heimdall, Infinity War Loki, so it looks like Hiddleston's going to be doubling up on Loki versions. Valkyrie Korg, don't care about Korg. And then we have the final battle, and not the final battle, but we have the Earth going to war, and the final incursioning happening. I guess at some point it wasn't laid out specifically that Doom kidnapped Steve and James. I guess it happens. Then it gets super dark. Victor takes Steve to Latveria, the Doomsday. Steve sees fake Peggy. There's a chair with a symbol with green magic. Followers of Doom beginning to arrive. They surround Steve. Green Witch is revealed to be Death. That'd be dope if that actually is Aubrey Plaza. Doom brings in James. Explains to Steve that Steve is the fault. It's Steve's fault for everything that went wrong with Victor, basically. And then here it's revealed that, wow, we've been thinking all along that he left 828, spent time in another universe with Sue Franklin variants. But according to this, that's not the case. He had his love of his life from the comics, Valeria, and they had a son on 828. And then Steve arrived right when Loki brought Steve there right when Doom was doing a sensitive experiment. And the repercussions of that killed his family and fucked him up, and then Doom's like, well, guess what? You killed my family. Kills Steve's kid. Not the first time we've heard this rumor, but, you know. Then we have three witches along with Boris, who is Strange. Then we have Death, potentially Aubrey Plaza in the green. The Ancient One from fucking Doctor Strange, might be the orange one. Might be bringing Tilda Swinton back, evidently. And then Clea's the purple, that makes sense. And Boris, again, we know that's Strange. Where's the three-eyed helmet? And we find out that Loki's heart was done personally by Doom, and now it's on display. Turns out Victor corrupted Strange and Clea when they went to the Dark Dimension, convinced him only he could save the multiverse. We got Victor on his throne, preparing his team in the Doombots to fight everyone because they're coming after him in Latveria. He orders Strange being casting a spell from the book, which is the word of God, using Loki's heart and Wanda's magic. There's been a lot of speculation that it would have been something along these lines, right? We've been long saying that Wanda's magic is going to come into play. We thought maybe it was Loki's power that was going to come into play, but evidently, according to this, he doesn't need Loki's power. He just needs his fucking heart. Now here's the fun part. Doom's followers are the leaders of each destroyed universe. So here's where we're going to start getting multiversal Dark Avenger type people. And the obvious main objective of Victor is to allow the final incursion to occur and rebuild everything from that. Sentry gets all Hyperion and decides to fucking... Well, first he encounters Vision and Tommy and Billy somehow. Vision activates Tony Stark's protocol for all the heroes. It's like, we're fucked because of the incursion. And then a whole shit ton of people arrive in Latveria. The heroes that were in the Baxter building, Thor and his Holland crew. And then Deadpool pops in with Blade, Elektra, and Ghost Rider. And then big ass battle in Latveria. We got a tsunami to kill Doombots via Namor. Shuri sneaks into the castle with Bucky to try and get Steve. They get Steve by beating two of Doom's followers who are currently remaining nameless, but obviously are going to be variants of somebody, or potentially some of those extra characters that we'll see once and never again mentioned. Some of them were new characters according to the report. Some of them will be variants, so we'll see. Then back to 616, another part of Doom's army starts attacking New York City. That's been in the leak for a long time. They pass through a portal or a wormhole in a scene similar to the one in the 2012 Avengers movie unfolds. So yeah, when they use the Tesseract to open that portal to allow the Chitauri in, basically that again with this. And so here's the team that's defending Avengers Tower. Sentry, not a surprise. Tom Holland, Spider-Man, that is a surprise. Jean Grey. Don't know if that's Sadie Sink. Probably Sadie Sink, Jean Grey. Punisher and the Defenders. So basically we have the New York crew that's already there, which makes sense, but I'm kind of surprised about some of these members, like Tom, who's supposedly, well, the reports have been he's either not in it or barely in it, so I suppose barely in it. The final one, big new battle in New York can qualify as barely in it, I suppose. So, Tom, Sadie Sink, Jean Grey, Frank, the Defenders, which is Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist, Wong, America Chavez, Cassie Kate Kamala, the champions, some of them, Star-Lord, Vision, She-Hulk, Hulk, and eventually Carol Danvers arrives with Guardians of the Galaxy and many others, including villains. Okay, so got the New York crowd here. Long and America Chavez are coming in from Comertage. Cassie, Kate, Kamala. Well, Kamala's been recruiting. And then we had Star-Lord and Vision, She-Hulk and Hulk. Now, Star-Lord, Vision, and the Champions, as you recall, were all hanging out together in those Secret Wars concept art leaks. And then we have She-Hulk and Hulk, and again, they end up in some kind of Hulk land in those Secret Wars concept art leaks. And then Carol arrives from the cosmos with the Guardians. I mean, that makes sense. We know she was out and about from the end of the Marvels, and the Guardians are always out there. Now, when they say Guardians of the Galaxy, I'm guessing they mean the new crew from the end of Guardians 3, which is James Gunn's brother with Yondu's stuff, Adam Warlock. Who else was part of that? Love? Was Love part of that group? I don't remember everyone, but that's the team I think it's going to be. It's not going to be the ones from the original trilogy. And it can't be. So yeah, it's got to be that new group. Can't remember if Rocket's still in it or not. And then and many others, including villains. I mean, you know. What up, Dave? And then, of course, so we have big battle in Latveria. We're about to have another big battle in New York. And then Sentry goes out, gets his Hyperion on. Talked about it, the awesome action sequences, everyone's fighting. And then back on 828, Sue Franklin and Charles are aboard the Ark. Now they have the Ark, as opposed to the Excelsior. Is that now a new ship? Prepare to withstand. Yep. Okay. Sue stays behind because she's pregnant. Interesting. So we might get us a Valyria in Secret Wars chat. That'd be cool. Charles acts as a mental link with all the mutant Avengers so they can communicate and informs them that Bob is slowing down Earth so they can escape. And then we have another heartfelt moment with Elena and Bob, and he says, bye-bye. Now, one of the witches intercepts the message and teleports to the ship, kills Charles, and takes Sue and Franklin. Cyclops reads him. Magneto try to get to the ship to stop it. They're too late. The Avengers, which is Johnny Ben Thor, Loki, Lady Thor, and that's Infinity War Loki. And the Avengers of the Multiverse are at Doom's castle and emerge victorious against the Doom bots. And then Doom pops out and fucks them all up. Doom shatters Mjolnir. Doom attacks Steve with a sword. Bucky sacrifices himself. Then three witches kill the Ghost Rider. And Doom's follower, whoever that is, fights Elena and Shuri. Shuri manages to defeat her. Okay, so the female Doom follower. But then Shuri dies. And then Thor gets that dope-ass yellow armor with the yellow thunder that we saw. Was that a Hot Toy that we saw that on? A month or so ago, maybe 2 months at this point. So, okay. And then that can rival Doom in battle. Thor starts to get his groove on, but then Doom starts to drain his power somehow or other. And then he cuts off Thor's hand with the sword, and then turns around and kicks everyone else's ass. Reed ship activates automatically, gets out. Reed can't save Sue Franklin either. Sentry runs out of his juice, and the final incursion begins. Strange completes that spell involving Loki's heart in the book and Wanda's magic, which enables Victor to create Battle World. And then at the very end, Doom appears in his white armor, seated in a chair next to Doctor Strange. So there's some surprises in there. Some stuff that has been speculated about all the different characters that could pop up. Evidently, a fuck ton of the speculated characters are going to pop up. So I got to say, depending on how much of it is accurate, this sounds like it's going to be a fucking epic ass movie and a dark ass movie, especially in some spots. I mean, we got heroes dying. We got a fucking Doom killing an 11-year-old kid, ripping Loki's heart out. This movie is looking like it's going to be intense, but at least in this guy's opinion, really fucking good. I am digging that. What do you guys think? What do you think, chat? You dig it? You not dig it? You buying it? I guess it'd be an even more important question as to whether you're digging it or not. I think they'll have Rogue steal Carol Danvers' powers. Not in Doomsday. I don't think, outside of Sadie, I don't think we're going to see any of the new X-Men cast until Secret Wars. But it could definitely happen in Secret Wars, which would be dope because then she'd be set up with full powers for the X-Men movie. I'd be down for that. I know, damn, a 9? I know a lot of people would be down for that just because they don't fucking like Brie Larson. Like, let's be real. That would be the motivation for a lot of people to be like, fuck yeah, Indy, drain that bitch! You know? That would be popular for MCU fans on multiple levels. I think it sounds pretty dope though, chat. If even like 60-70% of that is accurate, sounds pretty dope. But again, it could be just a cleverly constructed thing with like all the info that's out there kind of mixed together in, I gotta say, a pretty cool way. Like, you know, old leaks, trailer footage, teaser footage, just finding the coolest speculation that makes the most sense and throwing that in there. Comic book references. It could be just a very creative person that put together a very cleverly constructed plot that actually makes a shit ton of sense. Or it's real, or at least was real at one time, or it is real, or a lot of it is real, or some portion of it is real and a lot isn't. No fucking telling. But as it stands, what we just read, I think is pretty cool. And as for the parts where they triple dotted and referenced something and then immediately dipped out from it, I have no idea what any of that is. And it's like, what the fuck are they talking about with the Fantastic Four and the Four? Like, what even is that? No idea. And then there's whatever Wanda was after that Doom figured out that they're being very not specific about. Maybe it was the Ultimate Nullifier. Maybe it was something else. I can't remember the other thing. And I closed X, so fuck it. But anyway, chat, there you have it. Share your thoughts. That's all my planned subject. It's your time now, chat. Share your thoughts on anything we talked about tonight. Anything else that pops in your mind. We are to your time. Take advantage of it. Shit! Oh yeah, the Watcher being involved. That's a pretty cool surprise. I like that. I wonder if they're going to hire the dude that voices them in What If to actually be the Watcher. That would be cool as shit. Assuming that's real. That would be cool as shit. I would be down for that. Oh shit, I think I kind of glossed past a spot. Oh yeah. Supposedly, when Mystique and Elena are fighting, as we saw in the trailer, Mystique's going to turn herself into an Elena for a mirror match. In that leak, it said that Mystique's also going to turn into Natasha. And then it mentions variants of Avengers. Were they really able to get ScarJo to come back for this shit? I tell you what. You know what? Can I unbookmark that? Because I should keep that bookmark. Hopefully I did not unbookmark it. I know where to find it if I did. I did not. Good. It's still in my bookmark. Because if we don't see ScarJo in this fucking movie, I will go back into that shit and flame that motherfucker. Like, no! And totally ignore the fact that I repeatedly bring up that Marvel's constantly changing shit. Don't tease me with ScarJo and not deliver. I will cease to care what Marvel tends to do at that point. Do not tease me with ScarJo. Excuse me. Will aggravate me a great deal. So what you think, Chad? Any thoughts on anything? Because if not, I'm going to get on out of here. Because it's late. What you think? I would love to know. And if you're watching on the replay, please leave fucking comments. I want to know what you guys have to say. I'm very curious about your thoughts. I wish to engage with you. I wish to create engagement so YouTube loves me and puts me on more suggested for you stuff for people. Damn it. Did I read your last chat? About you sending me a link? The last one I see. Oh, there it is. I think that was Rogue Steel, Carol Down. Yeah, I went over that. In Secret Wars, not Doomsday. I think the only member of the new X-Men cast we're going to see in Doomsday, if at all, is Sadie. I think if they bring more of the new cast in, it'll be in Secret Wars. That is my opinion. But I certainly hope they do that in Secret Wars. Because again, many MCU fans would be happy for that for a lot of different reasons. Yeah. By the way, did you put that link in the Discord about the Watcher being in? I swear I remember. As soon as you brought that up, now that I'm thinking about it, I kind of have a vague recollection, but yeah. All right, guys. I am going to go on ahead and be done with this shit. I love you. You guys are the bestest. Better than the restest. We spent 3 hours here on a Saturday night. Could have been doing a lot of other shit. But you were here. And that's amazing. And I am ever so grateful. So thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to me yap about this shit for, 180 plus minutes. And, Yeah, we'll be back next Wednesday at 9. Talk about the next Lanterns episode. And I don't know what the fuck else. Hopefully some cool shit will come up between now and then. We only find YouTube videos. Damn. Oh well. If you remember about what section of the movie it's in, I can, I'll just search for it in the movie itself. It'll be fine. Alright. Well, you guys are amazing. Thank you for being here. I love you a lot. I'm grateful to you a lot. Have a good rest of your weekend. Have a good beginning to your week. And we'll see you Wednesday. Oh yeah. Screen Crush has one? Okay. Cool. Woo, I won again. Alright, y'all. Thank you for being the dopest community out there. Thank you for hanging out tonight. You're amazing. And that's all there is to that. Hope you have a good Sunday. Hope you have a good beginning to your week. And I really, really, really hope you'll come back Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern for the next stream. But until then, and by then I mean Wednesday at 9 Eastern, remember this. Wherever you're at and whoever you are with, you must always keep it nerdy. Much love, y'all. You're the bestest. We'll see you Wednesday. Be safe. Be well. Have a good one. Deuces.